Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. I'm so glad to be here with you today, and I got a lot to share with you, so I'm going to get down with it right now. But before I even get to the books, I want to welcome my new subscribers. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I want to remind them that Readings with Regina is to be shared with your children, your grandchildren, even great grandchildren, and your friends. This can be used as a homeschool teaching tool. Okay? This is why I created these episodes. All right, before I even get to the books, though, I want to talk about our country because we are at war. The United States right now is in between 6 and 8 wars. And I want to also talk for just a brief moment about the new leader of Iran. It is the son of Ayatollah Khamenei, and his name is Mujtaba Khamenei. I hope I'm not ruining the pronunciation. But dig this. His father was considered a moderate. They did not have a nuclear weapon because it was against their religion. But now, the father, who the United States and Israel killed, Mujtaba Khamenei's father was killed. His son was killed. His wife was killed. Their baby girl was killed, bombed by the United States and Israel. Now, since that's the case, and now the son is the leader, do you think he's going to be such a moderate? Even the person in the White House recognized that. The head person in the White House recognized that. Yo, he even called Putin, the president of Russia. Yes, Trump called Putin. He's looking for a way out of this. And those of you who think that Putin is America's enemy, you really need to think again. I encourage you to look at RT.com, their news. Oh, their news comes on for a half hour. That's it. Every half hour it comes on. And you know what the commercials are in between the news programs? History lessons. They tell you about the British, okay, in India. They tell you about Indians in India. They tell you about the German. They tell you about the world. And this is what I want, especially my young people, to understand, because American students have gotten very lazy. Not their fault. The oligarchs that run this country want you stupid so that they can go around the world and just kill, kill, kill. Okay? You do know, I'm sure, that Israel already said, we're going to kill this new leader of Iran. Oh, yes. They've already said that. All right? So I just wanted to share that with you before I get to the books. But I also want to remind you of this if you don't know it. America right now is in 6 to 8 wars. Let me read them off to you. Somalia, that's Africa. Libya, Sudan, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Iran, Ukraine. These are wars supported by America. And on top of that, they done singled out Taiwan to mess with the Chinese. Just like they singled out the Ukraine to mess with the Russians. They want to balkanize these countries, divide and conquer. They want to balkanize these huge land masses of people so that they can control different parts of the Russian Federation, of China. This is your American government. And I want you to understand that. And I want you to be thinking about how in the world we can create a better world. All right, because we got to do that. This power should not be in the hands of demonic oligarchs They just like to kill, 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 kill. And if you think that only 8 American soldiers were killed in Iran, I just kind of want you to think about that again. There was another Army officer, but I don't have his name, and he was an elder officer too, all right, that disrupted a Senate hearing. These soldiers do not want war. And I want you to understand this, people. War is hell, it is nothing to play with. You don't want to be the killers of the earth. You don't want to join these people. Don't be imitating these white demonic devils. We got to create a new world. All right, let me get to the books. And we're going to start with The Slave Ship, okay, by Marcus Rediker. Okay, here we go. Malachi Postlewaite, The Political Arithmetic of the Slave Trade, 1745. Malachi Postlewaite was a British merchant and a lobbyist for the Royal African Company, striving in the mid 1740s to persuade Parliament to subsidize the slave trade by paying for the upkeep of the fortresses and factories in West Africa. He asserted the centrality of the slave trade to the British Empire. His own position and economic interests perhaps made him exaggerate his claims on behalf of the trade. But when viewed from the longer perspective of the 18th century, after the slave trade expanded dramatically beyond what he could have foreseen, some of his thoughts would become basic ruling class wisdom about the slave trade and its place in a larger, quote, political arithmetic of empire. Political arithmetic of empire. Slavery, this isn't in the book, this is Regina now. Slavery made rich Britain and America. Understand that, my listeners. Postlewaite stated his main argument in the title of his first pamphlet, The African Trade, the Great Pillar and Support of the British Plantation Trade in America. The British Plantation Trade in America. This was published in 1745. He began with the claim that, quote, our West Indian and African trades are the most nationally beneficial of any we carry on, end of quote. He knew that the plantation revolution had transformed the empire and that both depended on the shipment of labor power. As for the plantation and slave ship, quote, the one cannot subsist without the other. End of quote. He also pointed out that the slave trade was important to Britain's rising capitalist manufacturers. A slave ship's, quote, cargo rightly sorted for Africa consists of about 7/8 British manufactures and produce, and they return us not an inconsiderable profit, end of quote. He repeated a long-standing argument that would become controversial in debates in the 1780s. The slave trade created a great brood of seamen and was therefore a formidable nursery of naval power. The slave ship was produced both slave and seafaring labor power. Postlewaite mounted his defense of what he politely called the Africa trade because he knew that some people, even as early as the 1740s, had already turned against what they angrily denounced as the slave trade. Many are prepossessed against this trade, thinking it a barbarous, inhumane, and unlawful traffic for a Christian country to trade in blacks. Very important. But like all slave traders, He had convinced himself that Africans would be better off, quote, living in a civilized Christian country than among savages. They called our people savages so that they could continue to enslave them. Many of the white philosophers and writers that I had to read when I was in graduate school said Africa has no history. You understand? That was the standard thinking, and they wrote about it in books, and white folks ate it up and loved it and continued to enslave our people for centuries. They knew it was wrong. I'm going to hold back. I feel a speech. I don't want to do that. Let me get back to the book. All right, where am I? In any case, humanitarian concerns were trumped by national, economic, and military interests. Right. Like they bombed the hell out of Iran. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Because again, I feel speeches and I really want to stay with readings with Regina. Okay, the slave trade provided an inexhaustible fund of wealth and naval power to the nation. By promoting the Africa trade, Parliament would promote, quote, the happiness and prosperity of the kingdom in general, end of quote. Britain's Atlantic system depended on the resources, labor, and wealth of Africa and America. In so saying, he anticipated William Blake's famous illustration half a century later called Europe Supported by Africa and America. Europe Supported by Africa and America. And let me show you William Blake. I had to read him. He's an English poet. I had to read him. He's back in the 17th or 18th century. This is his rendition of Africa holding up Europe. Now, the white woman in the middle, she represents Europe. You see the sister girl on the left side, she represents Africa. And you see the other sister on the right side, the African's on the left side, sister on the right. She's Native American. Yes! It is the African and the Native American that made America what it is today. And this is a rendition of it. And this is art showing the holding up of the European woman by the African woman and the Native American woman. Look that up. Check out how art represents, okay, enslavement of the African and how it was a foundation for the wealth in Europe and in America. And I want to read something else to you that I wrote about the Dutch. You might not have even known that the Dutch were deep into the slave trade. Can you dig it? You know, the Dutch with the wooden shoes. Yo, they were big enslavers in Suriname. They enslaved the Africans there that got there through the British Navy. Okay. But when they were in Suriname, when they were enslaving African people, the Maroons held and continued a rebellion. The Maroons went up into the mountains and had a guerrilla warfare against them jive time Dutch enslavers. This is what they did. And I'm talking about in 1667. People, do you hear me? Your enslavement goes way back, and it also includes all kinds of white folk that you would not have believed were involved in the trade. But where there was a slave trade, there was always rebellion. And this is one of the reasons, too, why I read to you from these historical texts. And that is another reason why you must take these videos that I make, share them with your children. I want to raise a generation of very smart people. Okay, I got a comment here. Let me bring it up. Uh-oh. I love that. preach and read on. Oh, glad, Coach La. Holly, absolutely. Yes, that's what's up. Love it. Thank you. It keeps me going. It keeps me going. Because, like I said to many of you before who've been hanging with me, I want y'all to know everything that I know, like everything, and then you do with it what you will. But let me, before I go to, where am I anyway? Oh, here I am. Linda Brett, Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. People, we can make a better world. Remember that. Okay, so I'm going to Incidents in the Life of a Slave Girl. And I always talk about this because it's important. This white woman, Lydia Mariah Child, a true revolutionary, a true abolitionist, made sure that Linda Brent's work got in book form. Hello. All right. Here we go. Now, you know, Linda is on this plantation. She's on the plantation of the son of her real enslaver, the pedophile bastard, Dr. Flint. All right. Now, Linda is walking all these miles regularly to see her other boy that's on another plantation or in another household. But Linda is developing a plan. And my brothers and sisters, I want you to understand this. This is a true story. This is not fiction. Here we go. Again and again, I had traversed those dreary 12 miles to and from the town, and all the way I was meditating upon some means of escape for myself and my children. My friends had made every effort and ingenuity could devise to effect our purchase, but all their plans had proved abortive. Dr. Flint was suspicious and determined not to loosen his grasp upon us. I could have made my escape alone, but it was more for my helpless children. Mothers, do you hear this? Than for myself, that I longed for freedom. Though the boon would have been precious to me above all price, I would not have taken it at the expense of leaving my children in slavery. Every trial I endured, every sacrifice I made for their sakes drew them closer to my heart and gave me fresh courage to beat back the dark waves that rolled and rolled over me in a seemingly endless night of storms. The 6 weeks were nearly completed when Mr. Flint's bride was expected to take possession of her new home. The arrangements were all completed, and Dr. Flint said I had done well. He expected to leave home on Saturday and return with his bride the following Wednesday. After receiving various orders from him, I ventured to ask permission to spend Sunday in town. It was granted, for which favor I was thankful. It was the first I had ever asked of him, and I intended it should be the last. It needed more than one night to accomplish the project I had in view, but the whole of Sunday would give me an opportunity. I spent the Sabbath with my grandmother. A calmer, more beautiful day never came down out of heaven. To me, it was a day of conflicting emotions. Perhaps it was the last day I should ever spend under that dear old sheltering roof. Perhaps these were our last talks I should ever have with the faithful old friend of my whole life. Perhaps it was the last time I and my children should be together. Well, better so, I thought, than that they should be slaves. I knew the doom that awaited my fair baby in slavery, and I determined to save her from it or perish in the attempt. I went to make the vow at the graves of my poor parents and the burying ground of the slaves. Quote, there the wicked cease from troubling, and there the weary be at rest. There the prisoners rest together. They hear not the voice of the oppressor. The servant is free from him and his manner. End of quote. I knelt by the graves of my parents and thanked God, as I had often done before, that they had not lived to witness my trials or to mourn over my sins. Do you know what her sins are? Do you know what this did, sister girl, enslaved, what she feels her sins are? Because she had sex and was not married. Do you hear that, sisters? Do you hear the morality in this 19th century enslaved woman? All right. I had received my mother's blessing when she died, and in many an hour of tribulation, I had seemed to hear her voice, sometimes chiding me, sometimes whispering loving words into my wounded heart. I have shed many, many bitter tears to think that when I am gone from my children, they cannot remember me with such entire satisfaction as I remembered my mother. The graveyard was in the woods, and twilight was coming on. Nothing broke the death like stillness except the occasional twitter of a bird. My spirit was overawed by the solemnity of the scene. For more than 10 years, I had frequented this spot, but never had it seemed to me so sacred as now. A black stump at the head of my mother's grave was all that remained of a tree my father had planted. His grave was marked by a small wooden board bearing his name, the letters of which were nearly obliterated. I knelt down and kissed them and poured forth a prayer to God for guidance and support in this perilous step I was about to take. As I passed the wreck of the old meeting house, where before Nat Turner's time the slaves had been allowed to meet for worship, I seemed to hear my father's voice come from it, bidding me not to tarry till I reached freedom or the grave, liberty or death. I rushed on with renovated hopes. My trust in God had been strengthened by that prayer among the graves. Oh my stars. Linda. Linda got a plan, y'all. You'll hear about it later. Okay, I got another comment. Let me bring that up. Oh, let me see who's this. Okay, let me see. I just, oh, I do too. And you know, my energy even surprises me. Great, fantastic, love it. I want to pass it on to you because let me just preach for a little bit. Black Bay Lou, check it. We got more energy than we think we have. We got more creativity than we think we have. All right, I'm gonna stop there because I'll never get to my next hero, Ida B. Wells. Will you look at her, my sisters? You all, my brothers, you can look at her too. But sisters, I just want you to look at how cute she is. We talking about a 19th century black woman, investigative reporter whose parents had been enslaved. But check this out. Her parents somehow had taught her how to read and write. Can you dig that? And her parents were slaves. So these are the kinds of people during slavery that I want all of you to know about. So that's my girl, Ida B. Wells. Now, wait till you hear this excerpt from her book. Okay. This chapter is called At the Hands of a Mob. Now, Ida is traveling around the country. She was just in Philly, where I live. And she was just with the fabulous poet Frances Ellen Watkins Harper. I read her poem last week. Boom! I read one of them. In any event, she went on to New York to be with the black newspaper editor T. Thomas Fortune, and you can look him up on YouTube. This is called At the Hands of a Mob. You'll hear why. Mr. Fortune met me in Jersey City, according to agreement. He greeted me with, "Well, we've been a long time getting you to New York, but now you are here. I am afraid you will have to stay." End of quote. "I can't see why that follows," said I. "Well," he said, "from the rumpus you have kicked up, I felt assured of it. Oh, I know it was you because it sounded just like you." "Will you please tell me what you talking about?" I asked. "Haven't you seen the morning paper?" he replied. I told him no. He handed me a copy of the New York Sun where he had marked an Associated Press dispatch from Memphis. That's where she was originally from. This article stated that acting on an editorial of the commercial appeal of the previous Monday morning, a committee of leading citizens had gone to the office of the Free Speech, that's Ida's newspaper, that night, ran the business manager, J.L. Fleming, out of town, destroyed the type and furnishings of the office, and left a note saying that anyone trying to publish the paper again would be punished with death. Do you hear this, people? Do you hear? A black newspaper. Them white racist people did not want that black newspaper to continue. Why? Because they were writing and rewriting about the horrors of a lynching of Ida's three friends. They ran a business. Can you imagine? Right after slavery, three brothers getting together, putting their meager monies together, because you know white folks make much more money than black people, even if they do the same job. These brothers, industrious brothers, put together their little money, opened up a grocery store. The white newspaper, and they were killed. Ida B. Wells wrote about it repeatedly. She should, because many of her friends left town. The white newspaper got mad. They got with a bunch of white rowdies, shut down the paper, and said if the paper is published again, it's going to be published with death. We talking just about a newspaper, y'all. The article went on to say that the paper was owned by Ida B. Wells, which it was. She had a section of it, a percentage of the newspaper. That's how smart she was. She didn't work for anybody. She worked and invested in herself. The article went on to say that newspaper was owned by Ida B. Wells, a former school teacher who was traveling in the North. Although I had been warned repeatedly by my own people that something would happen if I did not cease harping on the lynching of 3 months before, I had expected that happening to come when I was at home. Listen very carefully at this next sentence. I had bought a pistol. I had bought a pistol the first thing after Tom Moss was lynched because I expected some cowardly retaliation from the lynchers. I felt that one had better die fighting, yes, against injustice than to die like a dog or a rat in a trap. People, this is your ancestor, and this is a sister girl. Do you understand what I am saying? Boom. I had, where am I? I had already determined to sell my life as dearly as possible if attacked. Oh, I felt if I could take one lyncher with me, yes. Where am I? If I felt that if I could take one lyncher with me, this would even up the score a little bit. But fate decided, there's a creator, y'all. But fate decided that the blow should fall when I was away, thus settling for me the question whether I should go west or east. My first thought after recovering from the shock of the information given me by Mr. Fortune was to find out if Mr. Fleming got away safely. I went at once to the telegraph office and sent a telegram to B.F. Booth, my lawyer. Girl had a lawyer, asking that details be sent me at the home address of Mr. Fortune. In due time, telegrams and letters came assuring me of Mr. Fleming's safety and begging me not to return. Listen to this, y'all. My friends declared that the trains and my home were being watched by white men who promised to kill me on sight. They also told me that colored men, listen to this, y'all, Colored men were organized to protect me if I should return. They said it would mean more bloodshed, more widows and orphans if I came back. And now that I was out of it all, to stay away where I would be safe from harm. People, I could speak on this, but I won't. But those of you who are sharing my videos with your children, I hope you are. I mean, on Saturdays, many of you don't work. Now, turn off the cartoons from the kids and look at readings with Regina. All right? Take a little section of it. Have them write a little paper on it. Okay. I got to hurry up because I really do try to stay within 30 minutes, but I never make it. I got to read y'all Asada. Got to. Now, let me see what this comment is. Here we go. Black Bailu. 100%. Yo, I know what you're talking about. Yes, and see, my people, we don't get to hear about the heroes of our race. No. Oh, no. Okay? It's been heroic deeds ever since we were sent here. You understand? When the enslavers came and got us and sent us here. Okay, now where am I? I heard about this. Can't be right. Wait a minute. Stop. You know what? I don't think I put the right. Oh, here it is. This is terrible. See, I've used these books in other places, so this time I'm like, no. Where in the world? She chooses. Okay, I cannot find where I'm supposed to be for Asada. Good Lord, Regina, what have you done? I must have put my I found it. Now, Asada has written this open letter, and it was played on radio stations, and I'm going to read a section of it. They call us thieves, but we do not rob and murder millions of Indians by ripping off their homeland, then call ourselves pioneers. You know, let me stop right there. I got to. The man that's in the White House that controls America right now, I knew we were in deep trouble. Boom. When he said he loved Andrew Jackson, Andrew Jackson was the president and he was called the Indian killer. He hated Native Americans. And what had they ever done to him? They, like the Israelis today, just wanted his land. They just wanted his land. That's all they wanted. They wanted Native American land, and they killed, 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 killed. Oh, yes, they did. They cut off Indian women's breasts and made tobacco pouches out of them. That is a historical truth. I'm just going to read a couple more, and then I'm going to close. And they called themselves pioneers. See how they dress up. Wait a minute, I'm going to stop right. See how they dress up history? See how they dress up history? And I'm going to say this right now, and I hope I can still stay on YouTube. The Israel people are using your Christian Bible to have genocide on the Palestinians. By the way, do you understand that Jesus was born in Palestine? Y'all know that who are Christian? Do you understand that the greater Israel see is the Israelis, they want to kill all of the Muslims. Don't you see that? They don't care for the Muslim people. They think they the only people on earth. They have the nerve to think that they the chosen people. Can you imagine that? The force that sent us here sent all kinds of people to the planet. Dig. But the Israelis, oh no, they want a greater Israeli. So they're slaughtering, committing genocide on the Palestinian people. And this is what they want to do. They want a greater Israel project from the Nile to the Euphrates. People, get a globe for your children. Get a globe for yourself. Learn geography. From the Nile to the Euphrates, Lebanon, Syria, you know that the United States and Israel is bombing Lebanon and Syria. I know you know that. Parts of Turkey, oh, Saudi Arabia and Egypt. This is what Israelis want. And so does the man who is in the White House right now. They think they should have all of that Arab land because they the chosen people. Okay, God had a favorite. It was them. Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that kind of thinking, people? So, this is why I will say, let me find the right banner. I will say, I can't find the right banner. I'm trying. Check note. This is what I want. We can make a new and better world. Don't you think we need to make a new and better world? Huh? Don't you think we have the energy and the brains to do that? Yes. So I'm doing my part, and I want y'all to do your part. All right, brothers and sisters, I am getting ready to sign off now. It has been a blast. I love being with you. Understand that. I pray for you every night and every day. And to keep my energy at a good level, I meditate. I got to. I meditate. It's all good. And when you get upset, I want you to meditate too. Just call the force that sent us to earth into your body. I've even seen healings when calling on that force enough and with truth. This country wants you scared. They want you full of stress. They want you anxious. This is what they want. Try to turn that up. Don't believe mainstream media. They lie. They take their points from the FBI and the CIA, and they lie. All right. And Regina ain't the only one saying this. You will see many white, in particular, military people say what I am saying, and they know it better than I because they've been on the front lines. My people, it has been beautiful to be with you, and I will see you again on Thursday. Same time, same place. Bye now.